안녕! Welcome back. Once every 2 years or so, I buy myself a new pair of shoes. Sometimes more often depending on how much I'm walking, which in Korea tends to be a lot. So for today's conversation, we're going to hear someone deciding on what kind of shoes to buy for their younger brother. So first, let's listen to the full conversation once, and then I'll go over it in detail and see what we can learn from it.
지은 씨, 뭐 보고 있어요?
신발 보고 있어요.
신발 사려고요?
네, 동생이 졸업해서 신발이나 사줄까 하고요.
동생이 남자예요, 여자예요?
남자요. 요즘 애들은 무슨 신발을 좋아할까요?
동생은 좋겠다. 이런 누나도 있고. 뭘 사줘도 다 좋아하지 않을까요?
아니에요. 그동안 제가 불 꺼달라고 부르기도 하고 많이 괴롭혔는걸요?
그건 동생들의 숙명이죠. 저는 신발 사주는 누나 있으면 소원이 없겠어요.
이건 어때요? 남자애들한테 이런 것도 되게 멋있을 것 같은데.
이건 하이탑 운동화네요. 개인 취향에 따라서 안 좋아할 수도 있어요.
아, 그래요? 이게 제일 먼저 눈에 들어왔는데 다른 걸 봐야겠네요.
동생이 특별히 하는 운동이 있을까요?
네, 주말마다 친구들이랑 농구하는 것 같아요.
그럼 농구화도 좋을 것 같은데 이건 어때요? 요즘 많이들 신는 것 같던데.
와, 농구화도 있어요? 그럼 농구화는 농구할 때만 신는 신발이에요?
아니요, 요즘은 패셔너로도 많이 신더라고요.
그렇구나. 괜찮은 것 같아요.
네, 제 생각엔 농구할 때도 신고 평소에도 신고 일석이조일 것 같아요.
좋은데요? 그럼 이걸로 사야겠어요.
Okay, now let's take a look at this conversation one line at a time, and remember to take notes so you can check them later on.
지은 씨, 뭐 보고 있어요?
Jian, what are you looking at?
신발 보고 있어요.
I'm looking at shoes.
신발 사려고요?
You're going to buy shoes? Remember that the 으려고 하다 form means that someone intends to do something. More naturally, this form can translate as going to do something. Note that the 으려고 하다 form and its related forms should only be used as is with the first person, so I or me, and second person, so you. It should not be used with the third person, so he, she, or they. This is because in Korean, it's assumed that you cannot know someone else's thoughts or desires or emotions.
네, 동생이 졸업해서 신발이나 사줄까 하고요.
Yes, my younger sibling is graduating, so I'm thinking of buying them shoes or something. Remember that using ina after a word means or something when the speaker does not have any preference. Because of that, it can be used even without another option. Here, 신발이나 is used on its own, so this can translate as shoes or something else. 사줄까 하고요 uses the form 가요 with 하다, which here means 생각하다, meaning to think. Literally, this means I'm thinking, 사줄까? Should I buy them shoes? More naturally, I'm thinking of buying them shoes.
동생이 남자예요, 여자예요?
Is your younger sibling a boy or a girl? Notice that you can add the meaning of or by simply asking two questions one after another, with a short pause between the questions. It's not necessary to use the word 아니면, meaning or, unless you want to add more emphasis.
남자요. 요즘 애들은 무슨 신발을 좋아할까요?
A boy. What shoes do kids these days like?
동생은 좋겠다. 이런 누나도 있고. 뭘 사줘도 다 좋아하지 않을까요?
He's lucky. He has an older sister like this. Wouldn't he be happy no matter what you buy him? 뭘 사줘도 literally means even if you buy him what. The 도 form can be used after a conjugated verb together with a question word. For example, 뭐, 어디, 왜, 언제, 어떻게, etc. to mean no matter what, where, why, when, or how someone does something. Here, no matter what you buy. 좋겠다 literally means would be good or must be good, and can also be used to make a guess that someone else's situation must be good. A more natural translation for 좋겠다 could be lucky. Remember that the 가요 form can also be used to suggest something and can mean could or would with both action verbs and descriptive verbs.
아니에요. 그동안 제가 불 꺼달라고 부르기도 하고 많이 괴롭혔는걸요?
No, so far, I even call him to tell him to turn off the lights for me, and I actually had teased him a lot. Note that 꺼 달라고 uses 달라고, which is a quoting form of 주다, meaning to give, that's used when asking someone to give something to someone. When used in a quoting form, 주다 becomes 달라고 when the speaker is also the person who is receiving something. Here, 지은 is the one who her younger brother is turning off the lights for. However, if the speaker is not the person who is receiving something, then instead use 주라고. For example, if 지은 was asking her younger brother to turn off the lights for someone else. 기도하다 is used after a verb stem to add the meaning of even or also to that verb. 괴롭혔는 걸요 uses the 걸요 form, which is used for making a guess or an assumption that contradicts what someone else said. Two natural ways to translate it are actually or probably. This form is typically used after a future tense verb stem, often with 을 or lir, but here is used with the past tense verb stem of 괴롭히다, meaning to tease or to harass. It can be used in another tense such as the past tense or in the present tense whenever you want to emphasize that tense. Here, since it uses the past tense, it can translate as just I teased him.
그건 동생들의 숙명이죠. 저는 신발 사주는 누나 있으면 소원이 없겠어요.
That's a younger sibling's fate. For me, if I had an older sister who buys me shoes, I wouldn't have any wishes. 소원이 없겠어요 literally means I wouldn't have any wishes. When used together with the form 으면, this means that the speaker wishes for something to happen. A more natural translation for 으면 소원이 없겠다 is I would love nothing more than, or just I wouldn't wish for anything else.
이건 어때요? 남자애들한테 이런 것도 되게 멋있을 것 같은데.
How is this one? To boys, I think this kind of one also would be really cool. 남자애, meaning boy, is from 남자 and 애, or I, meaning kid or child. The opposite of 남자애 is 여자애, meaning a girl. 멋이 있다 and 멋지다 can both be used to mean cool, stylish, or wonderful. Typically, 멋이 있다 is used more often when talking about how someone looks, and 멋지다 when talking about an object, for example, scenery, or someone's thoughts, etc. However, this difference is small, and either one can be used.
이건 하이탑 운동화네요. 개인 취향에 따라서 안 좋아할 수도 있어요.
These are high-top sneakers? Depending on his personal preferences, he might not like them. High-top, officially spelled high-top, are high-top shoes, which are shoes with a high top that goes over the ankle. 에 따라서 attaches to a noun and can translate as depending on or according to. The 서 is optional. 안 좋아할 수도 있어요 uses the particle 도 to add the meaning of also or even to the 수 있다 form, meaning can or able to. Together, this literally means can also or can even not like. Or more naturally, might not like it.
아, 그래요? 이게 제일 먼저 눈에 들어왔는데 다른 걸 봐야겠네요.
Ah, yeah? This caught my eye first, but I should look at another one. 제일 먼저 literally means the most first, or more naturally just first, before anything or anyone else. 눈에 들어오다 is from 눈, meaning eye, and 들어오다, meaning to come in or to enter, and means that something enters your eye. More naturally, this means that you notice something or that it's eye-catching. 봐야겠네요 is from the informal form 야겠다, meaning need to or have to, should or better. This can naturally translate as I should look at or I had better look at.
동생이 특별히 하는 운동이 있을까요?
Is there a sport your younger brother plays in particular? Remember that 하다, meaning to do, is used to mean to play with any sort of game.
네, 주말마다 친구들이랑 농구하는 것 같아요.
Yes, I think each weekend he plays basketball with friends.
그럼 농구화도 좋을 것 같은데 이건 어때요? 요즘 많이들 신는 것 같던데.
Then I think basketball shoes would also be good. How is this one? These days I think a lot of people wear them. The plural particle 들 can be used not only after nouns, but also after any adverb or even phrase to show that there are multiple subjects in the sentence. Here, the subject that's wearing the shoes becomes plural. 많이, meaning a lot, with 들, refers to many people wearing the shoes. 던데요 is used after a verb stem. For example, 하다 becomes 하던데요 and comes from the past tense form 더, here as the adjective 던, together with the 대 form. This 더 is used when the speaker personally experienced something in the past and also appears in other forms such as 더라고요. In this way, 던데요 is simply a past tense conjugation with the 대 form, which adds contrast between two parts of a sentence and is used when explaining something or introducing helpful information to the conversation, such as when setting up the stage or background for a story. Overall, the 던데요 form is used to add contrast, such as surprise, and to talk about something that the speaker personally experienced in the past. More simply, 던데요 has the nuance that the speaker is expecting to hear a reply to something that they said. This nuance is similar to asking a question. Here, 만기 is saying his opinion, but leaving it open for 지연 to agree or disagree, or to just think about a response. While the 던데요 form does not need to be translated, you can think of it as meaning, but what do you think of that?
와, 농구화도 있어요? 그럼 농구화는 농구할 때만 신는 신발이에요?
Wow, there are basketball shoes too? Then are basketball shoes shoes that you only wear when playing basketball? 때만 is a combination of the form 때, meaning when, and the particle 만, meaning only, and means only when. Here, 농구할 때만 means only when you play basketball.
아니요, 요즘은 패셔너로도 많이 신더라고요.
No, these days they wear it a lot also as fashion shoes. The particle 으로 can also be used to mean that something is in the role or in the position of, for, or acting as, or simply as something. Here, 패션화로 can mean as fashion shoes. For a few more examples, 아침으로 can mean for breakfast, 손님으로 can mean as a guest, 선생님으로 can mean in the role or in the position of a teacher, and 선물로 can mean as or for a present.
그렇구나. 괜찮은 것 같아요.
I see. I think it's okay.
네, 제 생각엔 농구할 때도 신고 평소에도 신고 일석이조일 것 같아요.
Yeah, in my opinion, he wears them even when he plays basketball and wears them in his daily life too. And I think it will be killing two birds with one stone. 때도 is a combination of the form 때, meaning when, and the particle 도, meaning also, to, or even, and means also when or even when. Here, 농구할 때도 means also or even when you play basketball. 평소, meaning usual, regular, or daily life, here can more naturally translate as just every day. 일석이조 is an idiomatic expression that literally means one stone, two birds. It can be used together with 이다.
좋은데요? 그럼 이걸로 사야겠어요.
That's great! Then I should buy this one. The 대 form can also be used as a question when the speaker is exclaiming something, such as when they're surprised or are admiring something. Here, 지은 is saying 좋은데요, which literally means good, but can also more naturally translate as an exclamation. Great! Now that we've gone over everything, let's listen to the full conversation one more time completely and try to follow along using everything that we've learned.
지은 씨, 뭐 보고 있어요?
신발 보고 있어요.
신발 사려고요?
네, 동생이 졸업해서 신발이나 사줄까 하고요.
동생이 남자예요, 여자예요?
남자요. 요즘 애들은 무슨 신발을 좋아할까요?
동생은 좋겠다. 이런 누나도 있고. 뭘 사줘도 다 좋아하지 않을까요?
아니에요. 그동안 제가 불 꺼달라고 부르기도 하고 많이 괴롭혔는걸요?
그건 동생들의 숙명이죠. 저는 신발 사주는 누나 있으면 소원이 없겠어요.
이건 어때요? 남자애들한테 이런 것도 되게 멋있을 것 같은데.
이건 하이탑 운동화네요. 개인 취향에 따라서 안 좋아할 수도 있어요.
아, 그래요? 이게 제일 먼저 눈에 들어왔는데 다른 걸 봐야겠네요.
동생이 특별히 하는 운동이 있을까요?
네, 주말마다 친구들이랑 농구하는 것 같아요.
그럼 농구화도 좋을 것 같은데 이건 어때요? 요즘 많이들 신는 것 같던데.
와, 농구화도 있어요? 그럼 농구화는 농구할 때만 신는 신발이에요?
아니요, 요즘은 패셔너로도 많이 신더라고요.
그렇구나. 괜찮은 것 같아요.
네, 제 생각엔 농구할 때도 신고 평소에도 신고 일석이조일 것 같아요.
좋은데요? 그럼 이걸로 사야겠어요.
And that's all for this lesson. Remember that natural Korean conversations can range in difficulty from beginner level all the way to advanced. So take your time and practice everything in this lesson. You can rewatch it if you need to, and I will see you again in the next lesson. 그럼 다음에 또 봐!